Now, though, schedule, baby.
Oh,
and
baby.
It begins with the biggest game of the year. This was leaked yesterday by one of your former employers, Bleacher Report. I don't know how they got this information, but somebody doesn't have their info as buttoned up as they should, folks. Buccaneers at the Patriots, Week 4, NBC, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time. Tom Brady returning to Gillette Stadium for the final time, and as Michael David Smith is going to be posting at PFT, if he hasn't already, if Brady throws at the rate that he generated last year in terms of yardage,
Right.
he will set the all-time career passing record in that game at Gillette Stadium.
Oh.
Wouldn't that be something?
Amazing. It really would be. I mean, hey, this, you could say what you want no matter what. I mean, I'm proud of NBC, of course, just because I work for them. But, man, to get that game, that's the crown jewel game of the NFL season. To get Tom Brady going back home to Boston, New England, Foxboro forever, whatever you want to call it, with –
Julian Edelman's going to be playing for the Buccaneers? Is that what you're saying?
He'll be on the sideline, that's
Foxboro
for sure.
forever?
I mean, that is the game. I mean, it really is. I would think that's going to break every Sunday Night Football rating we've ever had or anything like that. But how could you not be tuned into that? I mean, Brady and the Bucs, as good as they are, the Patriots have a down year, and they've won the offseason this year, especially in free agency. There's just so many questions and cool things about it, and that just adds to it, the fact that he could be the all-time passing leader.
I wonder how hard it will be for the Buccaneers and the Patriots to focus on their first three games, knowing that the Patriots game is looming. Now, the other Buccaneers players won't care nearly as much as Tom Brady, so maybe it's more of a distraction for the coaching staff in New England the first few weeks, but they don't get distracted by anything. But the Buccaneers, look, they begin their defense on NBC against the Cowboys. We knew that yesterday, and then as of last night, we knew that 3 weeks later, it'll be back on NBC with that game against the Patriots. And it is the game of the year. Chiefs-Packers, if we knew Aaron Rodgers was playing,
right,
we'll talk more about that coming up, then it would be bigger. Not bigger. It would be bigger than it is now. But it's still not reaching Tom Brady's last game ever, most likely at Gillette Stadium. And there are 5 primetime games for the defending champions. You would think that they'd have maybe gotten a 6th somewhere. They've got that kickoff game, Week 4 at the Patriots, and then Week 6, the Thursday night game at the Philadelphia Eagles, a team that beat Tom Brady in a Super Bowl, although I don't think there are any players left, maybe a handful, from the team that beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Week
many.
11, Monday Night Football against the Giants, a team that beat Tom Brady twice in the Super Bowl. I like that someone's a little cheeky in picking these games for primetime. And then Week 15, the Saints come to town, Sunday Night Football. And remember what happened last year when the Saints came to town, Sunday Night Football. It was over by the end of the first quarter.
Butt whooping, yeah, I know. It was one of the biggest butt whoopings we saw all year. I mean, really amazing and rare that you ever see a Super Bowl winning team lose a game like that in a regular season. But I think the good thing for the Bucs, like you talked about, like, hey, everyone's going to have the bright lights on the Patriots, but when you look at the schedule, the thing they can look at, hey, get your sea legs underneath you, whatever, get the Super Bowl cobwebs. At base level, I know this is the NFL, and we're not taking anything for granted. But I can sit here in mid-May right now and go, the Buccaneers are better than the Cowboys and Falcons and should be able to win those games, even not playing their best football, to where they get a little, okay, now we're back in the swing of things. We're over all the Super Bowl stuff and everybody talking how great we are and everything like that, to where you get going into the rhythm of the year. And I think that's going to be kind of important for them. They get that home game to kick off the year. There's going to be excitement there. And then, of course, the Falcons are in a semi-rebuild. So that does give them a little of a luxury to get going there early on.
And, some teams have a difficult stretch at the end. Some don't. Panthers, Jets, Panthers, the last 3 games for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Nothing against the Panthers. The good news for the Panthers is they don't have to take their medicine from the Buccaneers early. They get a chance to see what this Sam Darnold team is going to be, and maybe they'll be a lot more confident, a lot more able, a lot more seasoned when the end of the season rolls around. So glass half full for the Panthers.
Yeah, I think so.
They're going to be the best version of whatever they are this year when we get to week 16, 17, 18, or it won't matter. the games won't matter because they'll be done by then.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, we talked about that a lot. I think you and I are both in agreement about that early season gaining momentum, especially for teams like the Carolina Panthers. We don't know what they can be. We don't. They gave the Buccaneers some issues last year. And, Mike, when you look at the Panthers' schedule here this year, it's set up for a young team, a young coaching staff to kind of like, hey, get some momentum. You know, they got the Saints in week 2, all right? And we know, okay, yeah, the Saints are better. But you look at the rest of their games and you talk about Jets, Texans, Cowboys, Eagles, Vikings, Giants. Those are all their games other than that week 2 against the Saints through 7 weeks to where, you know, to your point kind of yesterday, that's what can get us Sam Darnold and Robbie Anderson and McCaffrey and Matt Rule and some of those young defensive players going, damn, I think we're pretty good. We're 4-2 and things like that. So maybe they are one of those unknown players that pops up for the 2021 season.
The Buccaneers have their bye week 9 this year. Remember last year it was week 12, and that was the moment that was able to propel them past their funk, and they didn't lose a game after that. Not the same issues this year because the entire team is back together again, and that team is riding an 8-game winning streak. And one of my projects for when the show is over is to find the current lines for all the Buccaneers games, and lines have been set for all of the games except for maybe some of the Packers games. That's another thing we're going to look into. But I would suspect the Buccaneers are favored in most, if not all, of their games this year. The one at New Orleans, I don't know.
Right.
And that one's going to be hard because we don't know who the quarterback's going to be.
Sure.
But, you know, last night I was watching NFL Network. Kurt Warner tried to get Levante David to go there with the possibility of the Buccaneers going undefeated. He wouldn't take the bait. But, yeah, we always kind of have that vibe with the defending champion because that's what we remember.
Yeah.
We saw them hoisting the Lombardi. We think they're unbeatable. But when you consider they brought all their guys back, it is tempting to look week by week and say, where's the game that you look at and say, man, you're going to have a real problem that night?
Well, I mean, I look at week 3 and they go through a little stretch there, right? With the going to the Rams. I mean, I don't think that's going to be any cakewalk, right? Not with Matt Stafford and McVay and that group out there. So I think that little stretch, week 3, 4, and 5, that'll be a good test just early on in the season to see where they are at as a football team. If they can kind of get through that 5-0, where they go beat the Rams, beat the Patriots, beat the Dolphins, and then go into that Thursday night Philadelphia game undefeated, I mean, watch out. Yeah, I mean, they still got some other teams, the Bills and the Colts on their schedule that are certain, the Saints one more time. But, you know, NFL, I don't think about undefeated anymore. It's funny. I don't. I never really pops in my brain because I just look at it to be so hard, and it's just so rare that it rarely pops into my brain.
You know, the only thing that would be better than facing the Dolphins at home would be facing the Dolphins in Miami because we know that has been a trouble spot for Tom Brady in the past. And when you look at all those games, now with the 17th, yeah, it's going to be difficult for anybody to come close to going undefeated. But when Tom Brady joked 2 weeks ago that he'd give up 2 Super Bowls for an undefeated season, you know that that's one of the items that he would very much love to have when he walks off into the sunset. By the way, did you notice yesterday his trolling of the Dallas Cowboys? Saying he can't wait to face, quote-unquote, America's team with the WandaVision wink gif, the big hard wink, America's team.
Right.
That's Tom Brady. He can get away with it. When you got 7 rings, you can get away with that crap. And I got a kick out of it. I'm sure the Cowboys are going to use that to their advantage. Not that it's enough to bridge the talent gap.
No, it doesn't. Tom Brady doesn't give a damn. He knows he's going to be competing and ready to go no matter what. So, I mean, yeah, I like that about Brady too. I do. I like his social media game. It's pretty damn good. It's funny, you know, and Brady's not afraid to be a little edgy when it comes to competition and call people out or anything like that. I've always appreciated that about him. You know, I look at their schedule too, Mike, like, I don't know. The dynamic of the bye week has changed a little bit in my brain too because of the extra game and where it is. And like you look at the Bucs, we talk about their schedule, all those things. That week 9 bye week is just that you can't handpick that, I don't think, any better. As a player, as a coach, that is exactly kind of where you'd want it. You know, in the middle, hey, we get in a little groove early on. We don't get disrupted with an early bye week. You know, that's the time of the year you get to week 8, 9 where you're just going, man, my body's beat up. I'm tired. I'm exhausted from the everyday grind of this. You know, to kind of get that, hey, let's get away for a few days and recharge to go into that second half of the year. And also not have that second half of the year interrupted, to gain momentum and go into the playoffs. For me as a player, that was always one thing I looked at, and that's a pretty damn good bye week for them.
And speaking of bye weeks this year, because it's an 18-week season with 17 games, the Eagles, Dolphins, Patriots, and Colts all have Week 14 byes, which is ridiculously late for your bye week. That's a long way to go before you get a chance to collect yourself. The Patriots, a likely contender this year, they're going to have to hold it together for 13 weeks.
Say those teams again, Mike. The late bye week ones. I wasn't even aware
Eagles,
of that.
Dolphins,
right.
Patriots, Colts, Week 14 bye.
Man, you're going to be beat up by that point. And the weird thing about that is, like, you're kind of getting your second win during that time of the year. You're almost, I don't know if you're going to even like that as a team, to have that, like, December, we're supposed to be peaking mentality, right? I mean, how many times do we see, like, the great Super Bowl teams are undefeated in December? This team hasn't lost since November, and here they are in the Super Bowl and all of that. That would be one I'd look at and go, damn, we got to play 13 weeks before we get a bye week, and we're going to get our last little run here when we're getting ready for the playoffs interrupted. That's a bad one.
And that is December 12th.
Jeez.
That is deep, deep into the season.
That is.
For the bye weeks for those four teams.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.